We're here! Hi, everybody. It's your boy. I guess. It's,
Can we restart that?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, alright, sorry. Hang on just a second. Alright, hi, everyone.
Hi, welcome to the stream.
It's
your boy!
Now we have to start it over again.
No, I'm cool when I do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright. I would make fun of you, but you are very cool.
Cool.
Yeah. No, this is the first stream post
Aneria.
Post Shattered Realms season start.
Yep.
So, yeah. Excited to be here. Excited to have anybody in chat. Bosco says he can't make it tonight, which sucks. He's like half of our viewership, but that's okay. Hopefully we've got a few more coming in and trickling in. Don't forget to say hi so we can say hi back. And we're going to paint tonight.
Yes, let's show them this monstrosity.
Yeah. The giant worm that, spoiler alert, showed up in the most recent episode. The shy Halud that we are going to be painting tonight.
He's very shy.
Mm-hmm.
Not very shy.
Yep.
Come on, focus. There you go.
Hello, Casey. Thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, we're going to paint him. We're going to paint a big guy. I like how you have like a warehouse set up here, by the way.
Yeah, I was doing some housekeeping. And by housekeeping, I mean all of these were unpainted like this. They were all primered with some zenithal, and that's it. And I got tired of using them in our games and not having them primered or painted. So I decided to just at least throw on at least the wood-colored stuff.
Yeah. We're sorry for any glitchiness on the stream tonight, by the way. Scott's computer is very old.
Very old. And
he's chugging along as best he can.
Yep. It's, it's trying.
Yep.
Ooh, he's trying.
Ooh, boy. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and paint a big guy tonight. Are you going to be using the... Are you just going to be hand painting?
Yeah.
You're not going to use the sprayer?
No, I'm not going to use the airbrush.
Okay. Alrighty, cool. But yeah, this is the first post-season start stream. So if you are joining in and you have any questions about that, we won't go into too many spoilers just because it came out 2 days ago. We're not going to expect that everybody's seen it. But if you have questions about it, we'll answer them in a spoiler-free way, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's been fun getting
It's
back
live.
into it, though.
It's live. We'll see how spoilery or not it can be.
One thing that I wanted to talk about tonight is not about the game at all. It's about The Expanse, and I know that you you absolutely love The Expanse. You've been reading all of the books after we watched the show, and we watched the full show.
Yeah,
we watched every season's, and which cut off at a place that felt like there should be more, in my opinion.
Well, there is.
Yeah, because there's so many more books. Yeah. My question to you, and this is a spoiler for The Expanse, so, if you haven't seen it, skip ahead like 30 seconds to a minute, I guess, or just mute your ears if you're not on the VOD, because you can't skip ahead live.
We'll give you a thumbs up when we're done.
My question to you is the plot line with the little girl and the monkey paw situation, where she brings her brother back. Yeah. Because of the little...
the little creatures.
The little creatures. Are they creatures, or are they bio, or are they...
They are
cybernetic? Built
by the ring builders.
Okay. So this is something that happens in the book that we've read up to this point, right?
No. Actually, this
that the show went up to.
So that's Laconia, and we're just barely getting to Laconia's stuff.
Okay.
In books 7, 8, and 9.
Okay.
And yeah, so it was a weird thing. I'm not sure why they did it. Because it doesn't really go anywhere in the show.
No.
And in the book, there's no mention of that kind of stuff up until that point. I think from what I've read and spoiled myself on, I think it's from like book 8.
Wow.
Which is, I don't know why they did it.
Okay. I didn't know if you had gotten to that point, so I was going to ask about it, but
not yet.
We will just go ahead and we'll give the thumbs up so anybody who's watching. Joe, good evening, gentlemen. Really enjoyed episode 1. We just call him Joe.
Tanaka Joe.
Yeah, I just call him Joe. Welcome. Busy pulling 4-way switches tonight, but got all the supply/return boots in for my HVAC. Congratulations.
Cool.
Very nice. Seems like it's going to be a busy night for a lot of people, but if you can join in or even just listen to us rant for 2 hours, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's a great way to pass the time.
We're very good at ranting.
It's true. So what color are we starting with tonight, Scott?
Well, I was thinking about purple, but I just noticed that I probably need to do the belly first.
Yeah.
Just because
it's a little bit deeper in there.
Deeper, and it's going to be harder to get to.
Because that's one of your painting tips.
Yes.
Right. Is
do the deeper stuff first.
Yeah.
So you see how it's kind of the lowest point on the model. So if you're looking at like a figure, it would be usually skin. It's deeper than clothing, so you want to do that first. Especially if they've got things like hoods and collars and whatever, because you don't want to paint the whole hood and then have to try to get the paintbrush in and paint the face. It's kind of annoying. The only thing I don't do is, even though like the mouth is technically like the deepest part, because it's so open, it's going to be easy to get to.
Yeah, that's kind of unconnected. Yeah, Joe, we're painting this monstrosity.
Yeah.
Literally a monstrosity, probably. Yeah. Purple worms?
I believe they are monstrosities.
I mean, so technically
yes,
this isn't a purple worm from, like, it's what it's called is Jorgmunder. It's actually
Jorgmunder.
Yeah, it's actually Jorgmunder the World Eater. It's from Comet Lord.
Yeah.
Who is a wonderful Patreon that you follow that does minis every month, and they're always fantastic. I literally went through, that's the bulk of the list that I gave you for things that I needed was from Comet Lord. Yeah.
Well, and I just picked up, so I wasn't going to use contrast paints, but I just picked up some of the medium.
Okay.
So I can extend them and make them flow better by mixing it and having like lighter colors.
Okay. Cool.
So I was gonna do regular paints, and then I just decided contrast would be so much easier.
Yeah.
So use a little pipette, get some of it. Put it in.
Switch over to the cam again.
Yeah.
To watch you pipette things. Yes, purple worms are terrifying. I was surprised at how much damage they can deal with their poison tail sting. Like,
so
that was impressive.
if you recall, I played a hunter, Tavish, and my like beast of choice or whatever they call it, your preferred prey. That's what it is?
Favorite enemy.
Favorite enemy.
Yes.
Was monstrosities,
Mm-hmm.
and his backstory was that his family was eaten by a purple worm while he was out hunting.
Is it this purple worm?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, this is the reason why I printed it.
Yeah.
It's because of that, and then we ended up ending that campaign before we got to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Before you got your revenge.
Yep. It was just one of those, like, he was always hunting for it, trying to find it.
Yeah.
You know.
One other thing that I want to talk about tonight is I have been, so for the longest time with 5th edition, with running encounters and creating encounters, I have railed against the idea of using low CR monsters at higher CR levels, right? Like a CR1 monster.
Like, what do you mean?
Like for example, a CR1 creature that does like a +4 bonus to attack rolls.
Yeah.
Is very rarely, if ever, going to hit a level 12 player.
Right.
Right? And so for the longest time I kind of went, well, I might just want to beef up the monsters, you know, the challenge rating, and there are resources that you can do that with.
Yeah.
But the last couple of sessions I've used CR 1 and 2 monsters against you guys as minion fodder.
Yeah.
And they've actually been working really well. Like, surprisingly, because it's not about like dealing enough damage to you in one hit to take out half of your health down and make you panic. Well, it's about chipping away at the player, you know.
When I played my Necromancer, that was the skeletons. They can be made with a bow, right?
Yeah.
And they can take down like an adult white dragon. 16 of them can. Mm-hmm. Like 80% of the time, just based on like actual statistics and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have 20 goblins that can only hit you on a crit, that means you get hit once every round, right?
Yeah.
If they can all hit
on
you.
Average.
Yeah, on average, yep. But I've been starting to use that a little bit more, and it's been a lot nicer to be able to, instead of having you guys worry about getting hit by something and having it take away a good chunk of your life, I can just be like, okay, yeah, they're going to swing at you, and you're amazing heroes, so you're blocking everything, but then one of them finally gets a hidden, and it's 6 damage.
Yeah, and they also they take up room on the battlefield. So if you have if you have characters that need to move around a lot, maybe they can't because there's a bunch of fodder in the way type of deal, and they have to be taken care of.
Yep.
They get in the way of adjusting yourself. Sorry.
We're 12. Go on.
Yes. Of adjusting your position, because you're like, I'm going to try to shift away, and it's like, well, I can't shift anywhere that it's kind of like a checkmate situation. I can't go anywhere that I won't get an opportunity attack, type of a deal.
Yeah. It's a nice little risk reward thing.
Yeah.
Look at how wet that is. Look at that wet belly.
It won't stay wet.
I know. We could make it wet.
I don't really consider a purple worm to be a wet creature.
That's true, yeah. I mean, worms are wet. Slimy.
Sure.
As it were.
But, Shai-Hulud on Arrakis is super dry all the time,
Yeah. Joe says he likes the Norse mythology reference. The campaign where my newest players decided to jump into DMing has done a lot of reading on Norse mythology, so his homebrew uses it. Ooh. So he said he's going to be a Hexadin who serves Tyr, which is awesome. Tyr is a great choice.
Tyr Anasazi from Stargate. Got it.
No, but probably yes, a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Norse mythology in Stargate.
And then he asked, no Ceradon to thin the herd. No, so actually, Ceradon is really good at single target destruction, which is why I would make larger creatures with higher hit points and heavier damage, because I knew that Ceradon could break through them really easily with a single round. Mm-hmm. So I would be able to have kind of tougher monsters. But Colby's new character, Oloma, is very much a AoE damage bursty guy. And the fight we just had last night, which is going to come up in a couple weeks here, really kind of showcased how he does a lot better against these types of minion waves and everything, and it's okay for me to continually have them come at you because you guys are all constantly dancing around his spirit guardian's aura and everything like that, and it's really cool. So it's just a nice little shift, but it's taken a little bit of getting used to. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know you were saying you had to readjust how you did your combat encounters because you were building them as if Ceradon was still there. And Eve.
Eve provided such a huge boon to both saving throws and just a huge walking fortress kind of tank. Bolt is a tank, and I still have to deal with that, but Eve created a situation where everybody stayed nearby her, and I couldn't get any spells to hit you guys or anything like that because of
And no one wants to stay by Bolt.
Yeah.
Don't know why. I'm like, guys, stay near me. I can protect you. And then they're like, yep, I'm running away. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just keep swinging.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe, Gebeneth is absolutely an example. I think that's the right spelling, by the way. Good job. He's absolutely an example of a creature that any other party would have seen disappear to come back and fight another day. But Ceradon managed to just pour everything on there and take him out.
Although we've had that one guy that said that he couldn't have done any of that. So.
Yep. So justice for Gebeneth. And then Casey on Twitch says moist.
Moist. It is very moist.
It is very moist. It looks really good already. Yeah. Holy crap. Single.
So there's two different types of 3D printing if you're not familiar with it. There's FDM printing and resin printing. So resin printing I do does lots of small detail stuff.
Oh, is that my?
Yeah, it is.
That's my star form. Nice, cool.
So it does lots of small detail, and you can't see the layer lines. FDM printing, I can print really large things, but if you do notice, there are some spots, like the back of the spikes and stuff, and inside the mouth you can see where there are some layer lines, and you can see that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes the contrast paint doesn't work, but I think from table distance, I think it looks great as far as that goes so far. So
yep.
Yeah. So that's why I decided to do that, because I can get down in all the little like wrinkles and ribs and stuff.
Oh yeah, looks really good. By the way, my guy's missing a finger. You were talking about failures. It looks like on the one hand he is missing a finger there. So
Okay.
yep.
Might have
But
to redo it.
yeah, I mean that's fine. He doesn't like it's
His
table.
His
It can
star
be
form
table
doesn't
ready.
have fingers.
Yeah, he's
They're
kind of just a nebulous star being.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A form that you haven't ever even gone into yet.
Yeah, well, that's because we just barely leveled up. We actually had our second game with you running last Saturday.
Yep.
And that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that. We got
If you're in the Discord, you saw the picture of the alleyway fight
Mm-hmm.
with all the barrels and stuff. And
that went well. I did absolutely nothing that entire combat except for heal.
Did you enjoy the way that I was trying to do a lot of like battlefield interaction stuff? Like I put a bunch of crates around, and so I was trying to get everyone to, they were in the way, and you got cover behind them, and like every time you guys did a move or something or did an attack, I try to describe like, the barbarian rushes in and crashes through the barrels, and I like shifted them on the battlefield.
Yeah, and I've been trying to do that a little bit more this season as well, because I think that is fantastic.
Yeah,
I think it adds another layer of fun to the game when literally the environment is always shifting around you, right? Rather than just being a static, like, here's a crate. You can't really do anything.
Well, and D&D does devolve a lot into, especially with martial characters, into a lot of slugfests where they just sit there and punch each other, and that's about it.
Yep. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We ended up fighting off those bandits and got to level 2.
Yep.
One of our players, we did the tried and true method of getting captured in order to succeed in our plans.
Which was
for one of our players.
Not something that I expected you guys to do.
It always works. You should always expect that your players will try to get captured if necessary, if they need to.
Right.
It's 100% success rate. I've never had it go.
Never had it fail.
I've never had it fail. No.
Never had the captured player suddenly get killed while being captured.
No. You say that like it's sarcastic, and I have had that happen, but never.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it may happen.
I don't think so. I know what getting captured does. No, but it was really fun. She still got to play in that combat because she had
was
her
our ranger.
Yeah, and she had her pet / mount with her that she wasn't level 3 yet, so she doesn't have her subclass. Mm-hmm. But we do have like the animal companion with us. It's a companion of hers from her backstory.
Yep.
And so Scott just let her play that as the creature.
Because I didn't want her to just sit there and do nothing, because that's pretty boring, right? I mean, that's not fair. Like, hey, everyone else gets to get a cool fight, and I've never liked dual fight scenes when there's like one person off fighting something, and then the team is doing something totally different.
Yeah.
That always, I don't like it.
I do if it's in the same general location, right?
Sure, I like it more
if it's in like a mansion and they're just in another room.
But she
or
was
something like
she
that.
was like in the lair, in the hideout.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really want to have to jump back and forth.
Yep.
2 separate combats. Plus, when you're playing on a battlefield and not like Theater of the Mind, it's really hard to. It's really hard to do that kind of stuff.
And it's also hard to do large scale army combat too.
Yeah.
When you're doing with minis instead of Theater of the Mind.
Which you love.
I do.
You love large scale army, and
I
like
very much do.
I like it too. But sometimes it just doesn't work super well with.
Well, what I'm probably going to start doing is I'm going to take a minion, or not a minion, but like a soldier or whatever, and turn it into a swarm, where it's like 9 soldiers in a 3x3 grid.
Can we make a mini where I take a bunch of, how like they have a rat swarm or whatever?
Yeah.
I want to make a mini like that I can print that is a bunch of soldiers all smashed together,
all like crawling over each other.
Yes.
Yeah. A soldier swarm.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. Joe, I hope that you get the drywall up soon, so that you can get back to playing D&D. Until then, I'm glad that we can.
Oh, that's right. You were working on your house stuff, I think, right? Or was it something else I'm thinking of?
I think he was remodeling.
Yeah.
It's been like a week since I've talked to.
It's been a week. I don't remember.
Honestly, I'm surprised that I remember the game last night. So
Right.
actually, no, I thought it went really well for me not being prepared at all. Did you even realize it during the game? Because I know I told you beforehand.
You told me, so it's not that like I could pick things out and be like, yes, that's definitely a he's not prepared thing.
Yeah,
You know, but you had already tainted that. You just need to not tell me.
that's true. But it was one of those nights where I had been busy all week, and I realized on the last day that I'm like, ooh, right, I actually need to write a game down in order for my players to enjoy it. And I had very broad strokes of the next section that you guys were going into, because this dungeon's turning out to be a lot grander than I had plans for.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly, I didn't expect. Well, let's see. Session 1's out, so I can spoil that we went to Hall of Ben Sanctum.
Yep, Holland.
And I honestly didn't expect to spend much time there.
You thought it was just gonna be like that one day,
quick thing, and then be done. But you got a lot more planned for it.
I thought about keeping it a bit shorter, but then I just started coming up with more and more ideas, and I thought it was really fun. So we're gonna be here a bit longer.
You have a bad habit of that.
I do, because I literally came down to you this morning and I was like,
how many times have you changed the list on me already? Since if you saw that short of me seeing the list for the first time and going, crap.
It's been changed like 5 times.
Yeah.
And I just came down to you this morning and said, hey, I've got a really cool idea because I forgot about these STLs that we had, which is, miniature files, for those of you who don't know the lingo, which is fine. But it's going to require us to basically print a bunch of stuff and get it prepped by next week, and you were not happy about that.
I don't know if I wasn't angry or anything. It was just like, oh, that's a lot of work. Which is why I was like, as long as you're helping.
Yeah.
You can't run away like in the short. What do you think about that color of purple?
I like it.
For the purple wear.
Yeah. He says, building the interior for our barn-dominium. Our barn-dominium? Minium.
Barn-dominium. Okay.
Is that supposed to be condominium, or is it actually a barn? Like, I need more context here, I think. I've never heard of a barn-dominium.
Is it like a room in the top of a barn?
Ooh, a loft.
Yeah.
But there's drywall in there. Like,
you can put drywall in. You can put drywall anywhere, Cory.
Would you put drywall in a barn?
Yeah, I've seen people turn...
you wouldn't drywall a barn.
You wouldn't download a car. Damn right I would if I could.
Yeah. I mean, if you're turning it into like a living space, sure.
Yeah, I've seen people turn lofts of barns into like theater rooms and all kinds of stuff, like apartments,
But like, if it's just a barn, if it's meant for animals, do you really drywall it?
No, probably not.
I have experience with exactly one barn, and it was made of concrete. So, so I may be
Grandpa's barn.
Yeah, Grandpa's barn was made of concrete. So that's well, and then of course the wood top or whatever, the roof.
The roof.
They call them roofs. Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Roofs.
Roofs.
Because it's hoof and hooves. Is it roof?
I think it's
and roofs.
Roofs.
I mean, roof is already a that's a Midwestern Utah version.
We're going to the creek.
Roof. Yeah.
No, creek.
Creek.
Which we also had at Grandpa's.
Mm-hmm. A lot of good stuff down at Grandpa's.
Spent a lot of time in there. Surprised we never got horribly sick from it, because I'm sure it wasn't very clean.
Yeah.
It was always moving, though, so...
I think it's funny that we call it Grandpa's. Even though, like, my memories are more closely associated with Grandma there.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's both.
Yeah.
Grandpa had the barn and stuff, and Grandma had all the house and yard.
Yeah.
So, but that's where we would shoot guns there, because it was way out in the country, and horse riding, and that's why I've had enough horse riding in my life to last me a lifetime. And
so like whenever people
when
talk about
like, I want to go horse riding, I had an ex-girlfriend that always wanted to go, and I'm like, I don't care. I couldn't care less about horses.
Yeah, same.
Sorry, like we used to do chariot racing, which is kind of cool. It's a very Greek thing. Right?
Yeah, but they made it very cowboy Greek.
Oh,
So, yeah, togas and cowboy hats do not really mix very well.
Maybe. Anyway.
Okay, so it is a pole barn converted into a home. Yep, that would require drywall.
I like that.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, so anytime anyone would go like, we're going to go horse riding, or I want to go, it's so exciting. And I'm like, I couldn't care less. And they would always look at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, guys, you don't realize I grew up with horses. We grew up our whole life riding them, taking care of them. And you know what? When you start taking care of them, the like mystery and excitement goes way out the window. You know?
Yep, they're just another
just another big dumb animal.
Did you
Sorry
know that?
for all the horse girls in our chat.
Yeah, you either become the horse girl or the villain against the horse girls. The multi-billionaire who wants to take down the farm, and you have to win the big race in order to... I don't really know how horse girl movies go.
The big horse race. Yep.
Did you know that my wife's... one of the first horses she rode was named Cory?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, apparently. That's a fun coincidence.
Yeah, it's kismet.
And she says shame on you, by the way.
For me?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, probably talking about horses and how they're terrible.
Horses are dumb. They're only good if you can summon them and use them to, like, set off traps and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate...
Horse?
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate horses in general, like, you know, helping found the country we live in, and, you know...
Basically, helping humankind raise themselves up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's fine, but like I said, I don't have any... There's no romanticism to them for me, and so when we get the whole, like, we need to go horse riding, it's like, hey, have fun. I'm going to stay home.
I'll pretend to ride a horse in a game instead.
Yes, I will. Yeah, exactly. I can summon a mount in World of Warcraft. But you know what? Guess what? I barely ever summon a horse. So
it's true.
When I have the automatic, like the one the macro that switches the horse or the mounts around, you can click it. None of them are horses.
If you could make one animal rideable and like fully tamed, what would you pick?
Oh, that's so hard.
And this is for chat, too. Any question that I ever ask is also for chat, because I want to see your responses.
That's tough, because, you know, I love me some polar bears.
Yep.
Would love to have a polar bear mount. I also love rhinos.
Yeah, rhino mount would be pretty cool.
But then I'm, like, drifting into, okay, the creature... that becomes rideable, do they also grow in size?
Yes. Yeah, it's not going to be...
So then I start looking at, like there are certain beetles and stuff that are really cool. There are, like, pangolins and like, armadillos, turtles.
An armadillo would be pretty cool.
You know, there's all these really cool ones. And so I don't know. It's kind of hard.
I would pick... I think I'd pick rabbit. Which is why you see bounders in Aneria, is because... I really like the idea of like big, giant, fluffy rabbits that you can ride and everything.
What about like a water animal?
Oh, if it were a water animal, manta ray. A manta ray big enough to ride, because then I could do that cross-legged with my arms folded like I was a genie on a magic carpet.
Which probably is racist in some fashion.
No, genies aren't.
Stop appropriating genie culture, Cory.
Casey says rhino.
Rhinos are cool.
Yep, rhino would be really cool. Hippo? What about a hippo?
Hippos would also be pretty cool. I like rhinos more than I like hippos.
I don't know. Watching a hippo take a watermelon. That's a weird way to say that. To eat a watermelon.
Oh, look at that hippo. He's going to take that watermelon.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh, blur it.
Yep. Oh, Joe, that's cool that you learned Latin in high school. Or took a Latin class and learned a lot about Roman culture. Yeah. Chariot racing was fun. We never got to really do anything on the racing portion. It was more like we helped haul everything and then we watched the races.
I don't know, man. We had a lot of fun putting each other in garbage cans and rolling down the stairs on the bleachers.
Yep, that was fun.
That was pretty fun.
That had nothing to do with chariot racing, though. Except for we were there.
Everyone always looked... When I tell that story, everyone's like, you did what?
Yeah, we were dumb kids.
We were like like 10 years old and 6, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that was cool, and we were bored with the chariot part of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like your team races one time, and that's it. And everyone stays for the whole entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the wintertime, we would all get bundled up in our winter clothes and stuff, and just get inside of like round garbage cans and push each other down the big stairs.
Yep. We'd all wear our pink hats for our colors.
Yeah, we had pink hats for our team.
Which was, I thought was really cool. I liked our pink hats. So
it just got too expensive and too time consuming, and people just started going like, you know what? I don't have time to do this anymore, and because Dad used to do a lot of work with them. And
Joe says bighorn sheep is what he would pick for a land mount.
That is cool.
Yep. Just like the dwarves in the last Hobbit movie. Indeed, one of the great things to come out of the last Hobbit movie is all the dwarf stuff.
Yeah, Billy Connolly's character.
Yes, loved him. Everybody hates on that movie, but I actually kind of like it. So
I enjoy it too.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's got its issues, right?
Yeah.
But it's still pretty good.
What movie doesn't? There's no movie out there that isn't perfect, especially if you start nitpicking it. As much as I love The Iron Giant, I'm sure there's nitpicky stuff in that. That's my number one all-time favorite movie. And in my eyes, a damn near perfect movie.
Yeah.
So
what about sea creature for you? Rideable sea creature.
I was going to say something like a jellyfish.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Again, you could sit on top. I mean, you'd have to. Unless it, like, wrapped its tentacles around you and then took off.
Ooh, wait. Octopus.
Yeah, an octopus in that case.
Because that could also be my land mount, too.
Yeah. I forgot that they can go on land and bait for a long time.
They have... I don't know if they can breathe above the water for too long.
I think they have a pretty good, like, supply, but I don't think it's...
You should Google it. Do they have lungs? Because I know that they probably have some kind of lungs or gills or something.
Let's see here.
Do octopi have lungs?
Do
octopi breathe?
have lungs? I mean, I would guess not. Don't have lungs.
They have gills.
They have gills. Yep.
So I wonder how long they can last on land.
Let's see here.
Because, yeah, I love octopi. I mean, I'm very big into, like, Cthulhu mythos, and I will tell you right now, I don't know a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of it. And I love things that are kind of based on that kind of stuff. Like, you know, things that have lots of tentacles, and that's why I love illithids. I think they are probably my favorite, what do you call it, humanoid race in D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He likes the tentacles the most. Yes, he does. That's it. Yep, that's the whole reason. They can survive for 20 to 30 minutes on land.
Okay.
Without needing to take a breath.
So in a world where octopi are the land mount, okay?
Yeah.
We definitely have, like, canals everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like Venice type of a thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that, and they're all, you know, saltwater canals.
Yep.
So that we can just ride our octopi to work.
Yep. Or then there are those weird people that have, like, dolphins and everybody looks at them crazy. But they like their dolphins.
In this world,
it's only octopi.
It's only octopi.
It's octopi all the way down.
Yes. Everything evolves into octopi at some point.
Are we like octopi based as well?
Yeah, we were.
Okay.
So you know, maybe we've got like lines on our arms and legs where like we had tentacles in the past that fused together, type of a thing.
That seems sad that we would lose our tentacles evolving into humanoid form.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, evolution doesn't have a path. Like, it doesn't say, I want to do this. It's just,
yeah,
you know.
If you want to do this, you have to sacrifice that. Yeah,
it's just selective pressures.
Yeah. I still don't like it. If I'm living in an octopi world, I want tentacles. Where's my tentacles?
If you're living in an octopi world, you are an illithid. How about that?
Yes. Perfect.
Complete with the elder brain controlling all of us, and
I, for one, welcome our elder brain. Overlords, yeah. I let my players earn some riding rams. They sold them 2 seconds after they earned them. I was deflated and will get my revenge. Yes, because the person that they sold the rams to turns out to be an evil highway, like just like a small time bandit, but now he's a much larger threat because he has cavalry.
Yes.
And they're gonna hunt them down Mad Max style.
Also, your players are jerks.
Well, here's the thing: is you can give your players a bunch of cool shit, and then they don't realize that you're giving them cool stuff, and they'll sell it because it doesn't work for their character, it doesn't work for their build, etc.
Which is weird because you get so much money in D&D anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you play, especially if you play like the way that the DMG tells you to play.
Yeah.
That selling them for money doesn't really do anything for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like great, now I can fund my kingdom after selling my rams. You know, it's more just like, okay, cool, that was it's 50 extra gold, nice. What does that buy me? Not even
Nothing.
a healing potion.
Yep. Actually, no, it is a healing potion.
Is it one healing potion? I thought
Yep.
150 for.
No, 50, just 50. Yep.
But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I've had a few items and other things that I've been like, hey, here's something really cool, and my players go, that's nice, let's move on and do something else.
Yeah, well, and I guess it depends on...
The tiny automaton fighting ring comes to mind from Tales of Aneria, where I come up with this idea of like, you guys can get in on this underground tournament and create, bring your own automaton to fight and everything. And you even had one that you gave away, recently,
After
and you could have. Yeah, but it's just one of those things where it's like, no, you guys just decided to fight a bunch of half giants, and you paid for that dearly.
So we should have just shrunk Bolt down.
Yeah.
And used them to fight.
That would have been cool.
Like, this is my automaton, and it's just like, it's actually smart,
So the enlarge reduce spell, which is one of my favorite spells in the game, because I just love the idea of being able to shrink and grow. Like that's one of my like go-to superpowers when I think about it. Is really cool, but it only like makes you a size category smaller or larger.
Yeah.
So I always homebrew it.
Spell,
no, it's only reduce.
Ooh.
Yeah, but my homebrew for it is that if you cast it multiple times,
it keeps going.
You can keep going, or maybe like if you cast it at higher levels, you can do another size category down.
That makes sense.
I mean, obviously that can get really bad enlarging wise because you could go 50 feet tall, with the right thing.
Right, but
so it might just be only the reduce.
But that's using up spell slots.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there are benefits, but there are also negatives.
Yep. It's true.
I thought there was a shrink spell of some sort.
I think the closest thing that we have is polymorph. Lets you turn into a tiny creature.
Yeah, but you have to be a creature. You can't just be a smaller version of yourself.
You can't just be yourself.
And you
also,
should always be yourself.
Yeah.
Unless you can be Batman.
Then
be Batman.
Let us know if we're still getting like any sort of stutter frames or anything on the streams, just because I'm just curious.
I mean, 2,500 kbps.
It looks like it's fine, but I never know. I will feed one to them as a stew in a tavern, and then have the others be used by bandits.
Well, good thing about that is, you could just have the bad guy breed them, and so now they have, a whole maybe magically accelerated goat.
Yep.
Goat army, and maybe even like some undead goats and stuff.
Some goat ghasts. Yeah.
Some greatest of all time zombies.
Yep. There was a post on Reddit that somebody did that was, my players didn't know how to stop trolls from regenerating other than chopping them up into small pieces, thinking that would work. And so they fed them to the entire town.
Oh, no.
And it's like, and on the one hand, I'm like, it'd be really fun as a DM to be like, people start bursting as trolls come out of them because they start regenerating, right? But the problem is, what do you do when you eat food or when you make food?
You digest it.
You cook it.
You cook it, that's true.
You cook it in fire so it's not raw, so that kills the regeneration process, and you have stomach acid, which technically is acid.
So if you made a stew, we're going to get in the weeds here about cooking things. If you made a stew, you're not applying fire directly to the troll.
Ooh,
flesh.
yeah. Is it heat or is it fire?
Exactly. So if it's just fire or acid, obviously, then that would do that. However, that brings up another thing. If you make a pasta and use pasta sauce is kind of acidic.
Really?
Yeah. How much acid is needed? Especially on a small chunk of meat like that, if you ground it up, right?
Yeah, I'm sure a
bit?
situation like that would cause a lot of questions. But
I do like the idea of like
yes, the
they're all
entire
like, this is delicious.
the entire town's like, oh man,
no. And then it's like alien. They just like, but they're all small. They're all tiny trolls.
oh yeah, tiny trolls
Yeah.
just regenerating. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do love it. It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't think it would work the way that I think it would work. At least if you cooked it like on a grill, if you grilled it,
Yeah.
or cooked it over a campfire. Like you said, a stew might do it, or smoking it if you did like a smoke.
Yeah.
Because smoking doesn't technically apply. It
Doesn't
applies a
apply
little bit
fire.
of heat.
It applies quite a bit of heat actually,
but
it's
but it's not
there's
an
no direct
active
fire,
flame. Yeah. I actually really like trolls in D&D. At first, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, they can regenerate,
but not on
fun.
the internet. You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are, trolls. But they have a lot of really interesting.
So is that, wait, hold on. Don't feed the trolls? Is that
Yeah.
mean both don't give food to the trolls and don't feed the trolls to people?
Yep. So trolls in D&D are highly susceptible to random adaptations. Random mutations.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Not adaptations. So
Could be an adaptation.
and they're constantly hungry and eating.
That's
right?
why. Oh, and that's why there's a lot of like mountain troll and cave troll and snow troll and swamp troll,
forearm troll and
yeah.
So if they eat a lot of something, they will develop.
You
They have
are
a
what
higher
you
chance.
eat.
Yeah, they have a higher chance to develop a mutation
Okay.
of that specific creature, which I think is really cool. Which is why, like that one troll that you guys let go in Tales of Aneria, he ate that gold that he was given as like a sorry, right? Because trolls don't use currency; they don't know any better,
Yeah.
right? Because they are very specifically like
ravenous.
ravenous.
My brain went. He used it as a sari, like the Indian clothing, like that wraps around.
Sorry. No, but he just ate the gold, and then he started getting like gold scales on his arms and whatnot. Like, I thought that was a really cool idea that was in my head, and I was like, this will never affect the party, but here we go. We're just gonna do this.
Yeah. Well, you show don't tell type of a thing, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but I really liked trolls ever since I started reading about them in that regard. And yeah, I'm probably gonna use them a lot more in my games. And trolls are so for orcs and goblins and hobgoblins and bugbears and all of those. Like, there's a lot of creatures these days that people don't run as mindless killing machines, right? If they're humanoid and they're slightly intelligent, they can develop a society and they can a hierarchy, that sort of thing, and they can be reasoned with to some degree.
Well,
right?
So that's that book that we got, the monsters know what they're doing.
Yeah,
great book, by the way.
Fantastic. Yeah,
if you're a DM and you are wondering about how to make your combats more impactful and make it so the monsters aren't just run up and attack until they die, check it out. There's actually 3 total. The monsters know what they're doing. Live to tell the tale, which is on the player side. It's how to do like player tactics.
Yeah.
And then there's also
more monsters know what they're doing.
Yeah, more monsters know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And what it is it basically tells you like, hey, hobgoblins, will attack like this, and it kind of gives you like strategy.
Yeah, they'll give you tactics and everything
on how to play them, and it is really good book, really really interesting, and really well written too. Like it's a lot of fun to read, even just as a book.
Yeah. But I think that trolls, as far as races in D&D goes, I still like playing them as the ravenous, like, we are hungry all the time, and that's all we're going to do is attack things and eat, because like ogres always kind of are one of those races where I'm like, well, let's make them like a little more intelligent than just a mindless brute that wants to kill anything that comes into its lair. It's not a beast.
Yeah.
You know, it is a humanoid creature, and it may be less intelligent because they don't have a capacity for higher intelligence, you know, depending on the setting or whatever. But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't like playing monstrous humanoids as just monstrous, right? They need to be humanoid at least a little bit.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, and it that boils down to the whole Planet of Hats thing from like Star Wars and Star Trek, and, you know, where it's like one planet is a race of these, and all that race are all exactly the same.
Yep.
And it's like, well, that's not how people are.
Yeah, humans aren't that way, you know. But this did come from, most of these came from a time where people thought that, you know, there were prejudices where
True.
this entire race of people were this way or that way, you know. And it's like, well, you know, that's stereotyping, and you're just translating it to sci-fi because it makes it easier to digest, right?
And it makes it easy to tell a story.
Yeah.
And if you watch like original Star Trek versus more modern Star Trek, and not like the newest stuff, but even just like Deep Space Nine,
yeah,
you get to see a lot of like nuanced characters of different races. I mean, like the Ferengi, you know, they were,
and it all
still
depends
greedy
on
capitalists, right? They're still like American, basically.
Yeah,
but you know, within their overarching way of life, there are different people that have different views on stuff, and you know, maybe they don't give a crap about making money and things like that. Yeah,
and obviously, like not a society. I keep saying a society. I don't want to say we live in a society all the time.
Society.
But a culture and a developing world cannot survive on one single ideal, right?
Yeah.
Like Klingons cannot survive just on war. They still need doctors, and they still need
engineers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, yes, you can steal your first starships from an alien race, but the way that you have all of your starships uniform implies that you have engineers that create stuff. And obviously there's going to be people that make, you know, weapons of war back in the day for Klingons, blacksmiths and whatnot. And they probably would have been just as honored as warriors, right? Because a blacksmith is just as important to a war as a warrior.
Yeah, you can't win a war without weapons. And so, you know, you hold your...
Except for a war of words.
Yeah. That's Vulcan's post teaching of Sirach.
Yeah. But I think that what it boils down to is the race gets fleshed out as it becomes prominent in a show, right? Because if you introduce a species called the Zilnok in the first episode of your sci-fi show, you need to get across what they're about and
what's their primary defining characteristic. But you know what?
It's like, they eat metal. That's their whole thing. And so they like attacking ships so that they can salvage the metal as food, because they see it as like hunting. You know, hunting starships is basically their thing. And then later on, as the series progresses, if you have a Zilnok character,
write down some ideas for Star Trek Adventures. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's a freebie.
A race that hunts starships, not people. They couldn't care less about. Maybe they are made of metal themselves of some sort, or you know, maybe they're like stone-like creatures.
Casey, send me that idea. Zilnok is XILNOC. We'll say, and then just put metal hunters or starship hunters.
Metal hunters. They're looking for the best metal music in the galaxy.
Yes. but then like episode 3, if you're like, oh, we've got a Zilnok character that we're bringing onto the cast, you know, then you get to learn a lot of the intricacies about that species beyond just their metal hunters, you know. And that's the way it worked for Deep Space Nine. That's the way it worked for TNG and Klingons. I think they could have done a lot better in showing more aspects of Klingon society. But again, most of what they deal with in TNG is the Klingon
as an adversary.
As a warrior, you know, as like a military, right? But yeah, like that's just the way it goes. Because like even in our fantasy world with like Tales of Aneria, I talk about like the Etaquathana and like the males love to argue, but the females are the dominant ones, right?
Yeah.
The slighter females are dominant, and it's like, why is that the case? I don't know. That's something that would be fleshed out if somebody played an Edequathan, you know?
Yeah.
Like
True.
like when Colby decided that he wanted to be a kitsune,
Well, I'll tell you right now.
I had to come up with a culture for it really quick.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. If Bolts ever dies, like dead, I will probably play some sort of Edequathan.
Cool.
Because I love the idea since it was first brought up, and
You helped develop the Edequathan too. Yeah.
there's a lot of my hand in Tales of Aneria. Like the specific stories and stuff are all you, for sure.
Yeah, but a lot of like the little intricacies about the map and the.
But yeah, we did the map together. We did the all the different places, and we picked a lot of the races and stuff together. And
Places and races. The Axtoli is another race that like I have a few bullet points on. But then like I have never really fleshed them out beyond that until like we get into a storyline where somebody would be playing one or you guys would come up to something like that.
Yeah.
Same with like elves in an area. I just kind of went elves are elves. You know, everybody knows what elves are. But if Ceradon or Eve would have explored their elf heritage, we probably would have gotten into. Did you just do a spike? Oh no, that's a fin. Never mind.
On the back.
Yeah, we probably would have gotten into a little bit more of like what elf culture is and everything like that. Same with dwarves. I basically said that dwarves in an area, besides being standard kind of like dwarvish characteristics of like really family and clan driven, very much the smiths and that and the diggers and that kind of thing. I said that they were hunters. They liked hunting and trapping demons and elementals and stuff that was rampaging around an area, and that spun off into the Fallowshield clan, which did that the most.
Yeah.
But it definitely is one of those things where it's like if somebody wanted to play a dwarf, they wanted to be like basing off of that specific trait, we would explore it further and develop the species, develop the race, that sort of thing. There I go, talking about races again.
I'm liking this.
It is looking really cool.
I'm liking the purple on it.
Yeah, it's drying really well too.
Yeah.
Like it looks a lot darker in the beginning. It almost looks a little black, but it is drying really nicely.
Well, and I will admit I am not a huge fan of this print, just
Really?
because this was one of my earlier ones. And
Okay.
So I've learned a lot since then.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of things on this that I'm seeing that I'm like, I can do that better now.
Yeah.
You know, and besides, something like this that I wanted a lot of detail for, I would probably print it on the resin printer.
Oh yeah.
In pieces and assemble it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, this was back when.
This is all I had was the FDM printer. And,
Yeah, the resin printer was like only for smaller figures for the detail.
And it was expensive. It was like $60 per print, not per print, but per bottle of resin, and now it's down to like 20.
Yeah. Just as sorry to monopolize your YouTube chat. If there's anybody else that wants to take some of that YouTube chat real estate, they can. Until then, monopolize away.
Yeah. Play Monopoly all over it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now
Park Avenue, that bitch.
Yeah, we're just happy to have people to talk to. That's what we always like to do with these.
Yeah, we like to talk.
Mm-hmm. It's true. We do like to talk. I was going to ask you another question, but I have forgotten what it was.
Uh-oh. Put in the comments what you think Cory was going to ask me.
We'll ask those questions on the next paint stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Didn't
remember.
we have some ToA questions from the Discord? The Discord?
Yeah, Cory especially likes to talk. Thanks, wife. Yeah, there were a couple questions on Discord. But the question that I wanted to ask you, because I remembered it, is you remember arcade games, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like going to either like Classic Fun Center, Pizza Hut, going to the movie theater and playing before the movie started. Yeah. Because as a kid, you had to plan like extra early so that your parent could make sure to get you there on time and everything like that. What was your favorite arcade game growing up?
Ooh, I really liked the. It's not Turok, but it's like same kind of thing where you're like a dinosaur hunter.
Oh yeah.
And you have to shoot the gun, the wired in gun, and shoot off the screen to reload type of a deal.
It wasn't just the Jurassic Park.
They had other ones too, and they swapped them out occasionally. Every couple of years, there was a new one. Sometimes it was aliens, you know.
Yeah, the aliens one was pretty good.
Yeah.
Carnival.
Okay.
You remember that one?
Yeah, yeah.
I remember playing that. I remember playing that growing up, which was really fun because again, it was spooky and you shot off the screen to reload, that kind of game. But then I remember when the wife and I first got together, one of the first trips that we went on, the last night that we spent outside of Utah was in Mesquite,
Okay.
and we weren't old enough to go gamble. So while everybody else went into
Casino.
the casino, Casey and I went into their little like kids arcade that they had there, and they had Carnival and Carnival. Sorry, it's Carnival.
Carnival is
Carnival is
Brazil.
the Brazil one. But
you have to hunt down parrots, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we ended up beating the game.
Oh, nice.
And yes, we played it long enough that we ended up beating the game.
I have a hard time remembering anything else because, so growing up, we grew up pretty poor.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of money, and by the time we had our own money, we didn't care much about that kind of stuff. And so when we would go, it was always like, here's $1 of quarters, that's all you get.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to be really picky.
Really choosy.
Yeah, with what you wanted to play. And it was one of those things where, because you only had $1, it was like, well, I'm gonna play the game that I know I like.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna stick with that one and not have to worry about that.
Yep.
But like nowadays, you know, I mean, obviously it's like $1 per game, not 25 cents like it used to be.
Yeah, well, the game that I was playing today was like $1.50 per time.
Yeah.
Right?
But now that you have your own, you know, adult money,
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing that I love about like being an adult, is being able to like buy all the fun shit that as a kid I would have only dreamt of. You know?
There was the one at Classic Fun Center. I don't know if you ever went there, but it was the TMNT arcade game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game.
Wasn't that just the?
So we had the one on
N64,
Nintendo.
SNES.
Yeah, we had the one on SNES, and then we had the one on Nintendo. Actually, I think the one on SNES was the arcade game, because that's what they did back then. They didn't make like a different one. But it was just that side scroller kind of fighting game that I like. That one was really fun as well. And I'm trying to think, like, when I go to a fun center that has like tickets and prizes and whatnot, if it's games where it's you got to play for tickets, I like to play skee ball.
Yeah.
Like, call me old fashioned, but I love a good couple rounds of skee ball. I
like the basketball one. Shoot basketball.
Yep, I don't like that one at all, just because I can't shoot a basketball worth a damn. They have one there now that is like, it's like 6 or 7 giant plastic keys on a keyboard.
Okay.
No, actually, it's 4. It's only 4, and when you start the game,
like Guitar Hero style.
Yeah, when you start the game, it shows you which next key you're supposed to press, and you're supposed to press them as quickly as possible to get as many tickets as possible.
Okay.
And that one's really fun, just because it's one of those games where you can just kind of like zone your eyes out a little bit and just get into the rhythm of it, and it is really good.
Yeah, I haven't been to an arcade in so long. And every time I like think about going, I'm like, man, is there an arcade nearby? Okay, sure. And then we go find one, and it's hey, it's $2 per game. And I'm like, I don't want to spend that much money on video games. I can play them at home for free.
And it's half run down, and that's kind of standard. That's your standard.
We had a friend.
Fun center.
We had a friend that had an arcade for a little while before she closed up. Yeah, we met her at Comic-Con.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she did have her husband was a dentist, but he had a hobby of collecting old arcade cabinets.
They were friends with dentists that had a hobby of it.
No.
No, her husband wasn't. Her husband just liked. Just liked them. Them.
I thought her husband was the collector, but yeah. So she did like a soda bar, because those are huge here in Utah. Like your fancy fizz sodas and whatnot.
She was kind of ahead of the times, honestly.
Yeah, they started, like, it was only Fizz back then was the only other place that had it, and now there's like 15 different places. But they had that, and then they had all the old arcade machines where you could play like Pac-Man. We never went to that. I felt bad that we never went.
Yeah, but that's the downfall of being introverts.
Yes.
Being invited places and going, okay, that sounds awesome, but that means I have to leave the house and go do something out in the public.
Yeah. So I told you that I went to a bowling alley today for a company thing.
Yeah.
At my real job.
Hashtag.
Yeah. And it was a bar / bowling alley.
What was it called?
Pins and Nails.
Okay, cool.
And they have a few different locations around Utah. But because it's a bar, you have to be 21 or older to get in there with an ID. So that means there's no kids or no youngins. They had the arcade connected to it that had like kids in it, but like they had a very clear like glass delineation between the two areas. So we got to play bowling and we didn't have to worry about like
noise and...
Well, I mean, we had screaming adults, but we didn't have screaming kids, right? That's really nice. Playing a Kitsune in my Thursday night game, the party is mostly Herringon and a custom variety and of a custom variety and a turtle barbarian.
Nice.
It's the tortoise and the hares. Perfect.
Nice. It's all animal all the time. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to use the proper pronunciation for Kitsune now. Just because I haven't been. But again, the race in Aneria is called Kitsune, so that's going to confuse my brain, but whatever. Take that, brain. Yeah, but it was really nice to be able to just like bowl without having to worry about kids there. And they also, all of the bowling balls, they were uniform instead of being just like random bowling balls that had been donated.
They were just weighted, like they just had different weights.
They just had different weights, but they all were painted to look like billiards balls.
Oh, okay.
So the weights were on them as like the numbers for like stripes and solids, right?
Nice.
But they were all billiards balls, and it looked fantastic. And I was very excited about that part. I was the only one who was.
Look at these balls, guys!
Yes.
Cory's getting excited over balls.
It's true. But it was a good time, and then we played laser tag, and I am a 30-year-old man who hasn't been doing any sort of like really big physical activities for 2 years.
When working from home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my legs are killing me, and I am super tired now.
So what you're saying is we need to play more laser tag.
Yes, I agree with that. Yep. It was a lot of fun. It was one of those things where it's like, this would be a lot better if I was smaller, like if I was still a kid.
Yeah. Because
there'd be a lot more arena that I could run around in,
Yeah.
And as far as it was just kind of like I could step through the match area pretty easily because it was, I was an adult. And it was a lot of two people would shoot, one of them would go down, and then they'd both hide around the corner until their thing activated again, the chest plate.
Yeah.
And then they'd come around the corner and shoot each other again. And so it was like after like 3 or 4 times of coming around the corner and having somebody waiting for me there, it's like, okay, I need to keep moving. Yeah. I gotta get off of the sniper rules, right? Or I gotta do sniper rules. Shoot, move. Not just because there were plenty of times where I'd come around the corner, I'm like, I know somebody's gonna be here, so zap, I'm already firing. That's fun. It was fun though. I really enjoyed it.
I've always liked laser tag.
Yeah.
I haven't played it in a long time, obviously.
The only problems were I'm a big man, and they have a one-size-fits-all chest plate, and on its max like distance, the straps, once they were clicked in, it was like super tight around the chest area.
Oh
right?
yeah,
like it was like squeezing me the entire time. So that was a little odd or a little awkward.
Well, that's like going to the amusement parks and not being able to like fit super well in the things.
Yeah,
which it can suck. And you know what? Honestly,
it's our own fault.
Yeah, but honestly, they like if you can't fit comfortably and safely, like they need to be like, nope,
Yep, sorry,
get off the ride.
Yeah,
like, we cannot allow you to go up. And the ride that goes upside down, and the thing will has like one click of, of security. I wouldn't do it if it came down to the point where they were like, I had to push hard to get one click on. I'd be like, no, you know what? Never mind. Let me off.
Yeah,
Like, I don't want this anymore.
I'll be okay. Thanks. So.
Yeah, I don't want to die.
Yep. They had, so it was 2 teams, and everybody had their own individual, like, name. It wasn't like, you picked your name.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of, they were like Warlord.
Auto-generated.
Yeah, it was kind of just on the chest plate thing. And mine was Avenger, but...
Avenger.
But it was broken, so they had painter's masking tape on it, taped down, that said Avenger on it. So it looked like I was very unhappy with my original name and gave myself a new name. I got second place in my team as far as points went, but my team lost, so take that what you will, right?
Yeah.
Casey asked what color you're going to do the spikes.
Just probably bone color.
Bone. Yeah.
The bone game.
Bone game.
Bone game. For those of you that watch Drawfee.
Yep. You know, Tales of Aneria and Drawfee, the 2 greatest YouTube channels of all time.
We should team up.
Mm-hmm. That would be an absolute dream. Thank you very much. Like, holy crap. Yeah.
I know, I watched it a long time ago when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And really enjoyed it.
It was fun.
And then I stopped watching it because I don't know why. I honestly don't know why.
So...
And then I think you started watching it a lot more,
mm-hmm.
and then you started showing me like episodes and clips and being like, "Hey, you should check this one out," you know?
Yeah.
And then I started watching it again, going, "Okay, these guys are really funny."
Yeah. So
I know they switched up some people, and I don't think that was the issue,
because Caldwell's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's hilarious. But I think what it was is they went away from just kind of taking the random suggestions with the beans and whatnot, where it's just like, let's draw a fruit knight, you know, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool, but then they started doing more like, we're going to draw these characters in this style, you know, and it started becoming a little bit more like about the big drawings.
Disney characters as Dark Souls boss.
Yeah, that's one of their most popular ones, you know. Yeah, and I think they've developed into that style a little bit more, and it makes it really good.
They started doing mashup.
Yeah. Are you just gonna? So you're just painting that flesh color? You're not gonna do that any sort of like raw or anything like that?
The outside flesh color.
Okay.
Inside is going to be more red or
Okay.
reddish pink. Who's the painter here?
I'm just checking. Just checking. I just have it on the paint can, by the way, just because you know this is a big enough figure that people can sit here and watch. You missed a spot on the purple. You missed a spot right there on the purple. Right there. Boop.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Good catch.
Thank you.
That always happens. Every time.
I think I see a few more, too.
Every time I paint, I'm like, all right, I'm finished. And I get everything almost ready to box up and go home. And, you know.
And then, damn it.
It's like, damn it, I missed one.
Yeah, I know that you want to make an arcade cabinet with like every arcade game on it,
Yep, I would love to have one in the house.
All the old arcade games,
yeah,
specifically.
and not like a full size depth one,
Mm-hmm.
because you can use like flat screens and stuff now.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'd love to have one. I saw one the other day that was a 4-person one that like had a fold out hidden joystick thing, so it looked like
cool.
like a decorative thing, and then like flip the top open, and joysticks, all 4 of them came out with the joysticks and the buttons and stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
You said Pizza Hut when we referenced arcade games. Do you remember what arcade game you played at Pizza Hut?
It was like a Galaga style.
Okay.
Shoot 'em up. I mean, there's been dozens of them. You guys were talking about stuff on the last stream, and I actually went and found the one that I used to play at my grandparents' house on the computer. A little DOS game called Galactics. And, yeah, it was something just like that. But I just remember being able to actually go to Pizza Hut, you get yourself a pan pizza, right? And then you can sit down and actually eat in the place. In the rest, it was like a restaurant-style seating, and they don't do that anymore. It's all... They have seating still, but...
Some do. We went to... Obviously, this was years ago, but it was long after like seating had gone away from every pizza place, every pizza in Utah. We when we were up in I think it was Wyoming or Montana.
Yeah.
At Yellowstone, they had a Pizza Hut that you could go sit and dine in, and it was it was so nice. It was a nice little blast from the past.
Yeah, the one near us doesn't. It has seating area, but it's more just like waiting to get your food picked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, versus, and it's funny because they all have the same like design. The buildings do, so you can actually just like drive around and be like, that was an old pizza place or a Pizza Hut.
Yep.
That was an old Pizza Hut because you can tell exactly what they are. They've
Same
just been,
with
like,
Chinese restaurants.
Yeah, they've just been like repainted, different colors, and like they say they're a lone place, and it's like, nah. You're just masquerading as a lone place.
Yeah.
You're really a Pizza Hut at heart.
You're a pizza laundering place.
Yeah. I want a launder pizza.
Me too.
Give me some pizza.
So we did get a couple questions on. People asked some questions about the new season as we were gearing up for it. Formidable asked, "Where are the other gods?" I would say that as far as like general gods go, so the way that I'm handling gods in Aneria is that pretty much every deity exists, right? Like Bahamut exists and everything, but they don't necessarily like focus on one realm or like on an area. They're focused on their primary realm where they were born and everything. But if they have worshippers in other realms that they visited, they kind of go, "Oh, I'm getting a little trickle of power from there." Yeah. So yeah, sure, I'll give a cleric, a little bit of power, etc. So that's why like the Floral Naggin was a very popular god in an area as kind of a nebulous kind of thing. Hermes was actually like one of the gods of choice for the Greenwood house back before it was dismantled.
Yeah.
They really worshipped Hermes, and again, it's just like it's a Greek god, but he belongs anywhere that he gets worshippers, And then the dwarf champion that you met in Border Town, the one that was Southern accent because I accidentally gave her a Southern accent.
Yeah.
She actually was a worshiper. Yeah, Brightlands. Justine Brightlands. She was a worshiper of a sun god, but it wasn't Davros.
Oh.
It was a different sun god that she was worshiping. And it was sort of her clan had a connection to that god, that deity, and they got their blessings from the sun from that deity rather than Davros. And that was kind of before Davros was the sun god. Like, Davros was a god, I just hadn't figured out what domain he ruled in yet. So there's a little bit of retcon there as far as that goes, but it's one of those things where it's like,
I think that's one of the hardest parts about creating a world is coming up with a pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
And you either just use what's already in the books, which honestly that's the easiest way. Just do that.
Oh yeah,
because there's already
Because then you don't have to
ask stuff. You can be like, let me look it up.
Yeah, and you don't have to be like, oh, your character's a cleric. What god do they worship? Well, what gods do you have? And then you have to explain the entire pantheon to them. Which is fine if you like that kind of stuff and you want to do it. And I've done it before.
Yeah, it's just a lot of work, and you gotta. What do you call it? You have to weigh like how much work you're willing to do for what kind of reward. Because like building a whole pantheon, fun, cool. Will it be used? You know, maybe depends on how many like different paladins you throw in your game, and you basically shoehorn that kind of stuff in.
Exactly.
Missed spots for purple.
As far as the other gods go, though, the where are the other gods? A few so Aneria's gods are pretty restricted to an area, right? Like Davros, Lunera, Lurian, and Hanabrasis. Because Hanabrasis and Lurian are technically gods. They're not demigods. Like, they were gods at one point.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of their power in the big shift, which happened to a lot of the gods. That's why they are not nearly as powerful as a normal deity that has a multiversal pantheon, or, a multiversal spread. A couple of them helped create their own realms. Melanatos helped form the desert realm. And the Great Serpent helped get the oceans of Karamora together, that sort of thing. And then there are a few like other little like nature spirits and deities out there, like obviously the trio and all of the different nature spirits. I would say there is a nature god for every animal, right?
Yeah. Okay.
There's like the golden rabbit, the emerald stag, you know, all these different ones. But the issue is that not all of them exist on an area itself. That's why the courts kind of sprung up as a way to maintain nature when they didn't have the demi or the nature god of rabbits or the nature god of parrots or something like that, right? And those may exist on other realms because they were all split up, but that's up to people to find out, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why like a lot of the monstrosities ended up under the care of the Baba Yaga, and she just became like the court of night herself because
she's just like, fine, I'll just adopt you all like a bunch of stray cats.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
like
kind
a
of
bunch
thing.
of stray displacer beasts.
Yeah. So there might be some other gods that get met in Shattered Realms. I won't spoil anything, obviously, but yeah. Zygon asked, "Did the other realms have similar barriers?"
Let's just have Zygons be Zygons.
Yes. Did the other realms have similar barriers, or did they just leave an area in the dust? Why hadn't they reached out before? Is there a way to reunite the realms? So the barrier spell that was cast by Davros when he was helping hide the world with the other deities was all of the deities working together, or all of the deities, nature spirits, other major players trying to salvage what realms they could. And the barriers were set up. The barriers are set up not as a full like shield, or they weren't supposed to be a full shield. They were supposed to just like help contain the atmosphere, help contain everything, and block the realms from the sight of anybody who would try and capitalize on
they were
broken
they
realm.
were scared of the devourer and stuff, and so they were like, let's hide away from the rest of the astral sea.
Well, so the devourer can't get into the astral sea. That's what they figured out.
Oh,
That's why they went to the astral sea, was because he wouldn't be able to follow him there. But it's other major players like Ogma and other things that they were worried about, like somebody coming in and taking advantage of their broken up state, and they're like trying to piece themselves back together, because it was a post-apocalypse, right? Mm-hmm. And if you bring in if some warlord who wants to
post-apocalypse I've ever seen.
Yes. Well, you saw it 1,000 years after the apocalypse happened, right?
Right.
So it was one of those things where they just wanted to hide away. But Davros, in order to in his, I wouldn't say in his infinite wisdom, in his hubris, thought that mortals couldn't be trusted not to like contact the outside realm or try and leave, and he wanted to keep Aneria secret for as long as possible. So that's
probably right.
that's why he put the memory charm in there.
Right.
But, and again, that's the whole thing about mortals, is it's not up to gods what mortals do.
Yeah.
And Davros, because he was already giving so much, he didn't want his own sacrifice to be in vain. So it was a little bit of a selfish move to be like, I know what's best for these mortals, and I'm just going to do it, which is kind of godlike, I suppose. So all of the realms had this barrier around them that blocked their memories and everything. So none of these realms thought that they were anything but their realm. And it's only
It's wild to think that like he didn't even want the different parts of Aneria to communicate,
Yeah, well, if they start communicating, then they can then communications can get interrupted. Like if they start trying to travel to one another, it creates a whole bunch of problems, because technically planar travel did exist in Aneria. There were pocket dimensions and things like that, so it wasn't like it was completely blocked, but the Arcanum had it very illegal to use any sort of interdimensional travel under the guise of you're letting in demons. You left the door open, that kind of thing.
The demon door.
Yeah. So you're doing a dry brush right now,
I am,
right?
yes. Trying to.
So this is just a light coating of paint that's kind of highlighting.
Yeah, this is a lighter color of purple. It's kind of picking up the edges. If you look, you can kind of see the difference between the two
So on the right side there is the dry brush side already, and then
the left is original. And I'll probably do one more layer of dry brushing, even lighter, and go even lighter over it, and just barely pick up the edges.
Yeah.
But I figured it needed a little bit extra.
So anyway, all of the realms basically have been locked away, and it's only happenstance that only Aneria called themselves Aneria.
Yeah.
All of the other realms were like, yeah, well, we're a collection of kingdoms that we're not really sure. We'll call ourselves Arconus after our greatest, elder dragon that sacrificed himself for us in something. We'll figure it out.
Something.
Yeah, and again, it's the whole memory thing isn't there to.
That's the part of the charm, right? Is it kind of makes you accept that you don't know. Everything.
Yeah, just like everyone accepted that Luna berries were a thing, but nobody knew the origin.
Yeah. Why are they called Luna?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just named after some random person, I guess.
And then, as far as is there a way to reunite the realms? Maybe.
We'll find out.
That's something that may have to. Yep, that may have to be. Let's see. Most of my questions revolve around Bolt's maker and his fleet of helpers, says Bosco. Unless I'm mistaken, he was not Anarian or from Anarian, or from the Anarian trap. I don't.
Bolt is they them.
Oh.
No, not he him.
No. I think he's talking about the maker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep. So we're good on that. You got indignant for nothing.
Indignant.
I know. I'm just joking. He wants to know what are some of the other non-Anarian or pieces of Aneria players that have a stake in this area, like galactic powers at work that would see to essentially strip mine the area of resources, or Starfleet first contact them kind of thing. Oh, and space dolphins and whales, are those a things? I'll answer that second question first. Yes, they're absolutely a thing. So a ranger could have a space dolphin friend, which can be in an atmosphere too. Space dolphins can go atmo.
If they can exist in space, they most likely can exist.
Unless they're developed not to have any sort of atmospheric pressure, I suppose. But
yeah, that's true.
But magic exists, so.
Yeah, you can put them in a bubble of vacuum.
As far as the other one goes, Bolt's master is a sort of... and this is information that Bolt knows now, so this isn't going to really be like a spoiler or anything. But Bolt's creator, Quinn, used to be a powerful sorcerer on the world that Bolt and him were born on. And he took his a small little fleet, including his primary airship that he had developed, and went out into the astral sea and became sort of a explorer and then eventually protector of multiversal, threats, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So we may see Bolt's maker again. I know he might have a stake in making sure that Aneria doesn't get taken over or conquered by anybody, because as far as Aneria goes, it is an oddity in the astral sea. Like you'll see a few other ones that are like, I think like the Radiant Citadel is in the astral sea and other things like that, where it's kind of these small little cities and stuff that are gateways to other places, and they're great staging grounds for certain things that are primary targets for evil warlords bent on multiversal domination, much like
Ogma.
Yeah, much like Ogma that we've talked about, who was trying to break into an area and find it, and that's where all of these rifts were coming from.
Yep.
And that wasn't really explicitly said, but I think it was actually said on the World Anvil site that the rifts were partially from Ogma. I don't remember.
Well, when we closed that one rift where we saw Perrin, I believe the orc priestess lady said something about Ogma.
Ogma, yeah.
Yeah. And so we kind of put two and two together. We're like, rifts, Ogma, got it.
Yeah, and what would happen is basically Ogma would open a portal, because he didn't know the location of an area. He couldn't scry where exactly it was in the astral sea, but he had minions that had been there, so you can create the teleportation circle there, or the portal there, right?
Yeah.
That's how travel works. But he couldn't get a really big foothold in there, because you can open up a temporary portal and send a troop through, but usually the goal is send you through so that you can establish a
foothold,
a foothold and a permanent portal that we can send things through.
Yeah.
Right. Much like the demons in the Burning Legion, in World of Warcraft, where it's like we're attracted to this big font of power, but we need a huge gate in order to march our army through in order to invade this area.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, we're just kind of shooting blind, as it were. But the problem is that Ogma would send his advanced force through, the portal would close, and they would forget all about Ogma.
Yeah.
Or they would forget what their mission was. They knew vaguely that they served Ogma, but they didn't know, like, what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
They forgot a lot of that, and it faded pretty quickly, and then the Arcana would come in and sweep them away, typically. Like, that's why you had a few agents of Ogma, but not a lot. And it wasn't until Aventhi pieced together the state of the world and what had happened to it from a bunch of different deals with extraplanar deities that all had little bits of information, that he was able to contact Ogma and make a deal to open up a permanent portal for him. And that was the big plan that
That was what
the
he was
Wayward
trying to do
launched.
with Scald Seed.
Yes. Yep. And then so we've got a couple major players that definitely want to see that, because having an entire world of resources in the Astral Sea that you can launch your campaigns from is a very, very advantageous thing.
Yep.
Especially for Ogma, who might be fighting against certain other powers that don't want him in the Astral Sea, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So. And then Halawasa asks, when can I get the mecha fight scene? Soon. We have it sort of soon. So, yeah, that's coming up here pretty soon here. He's looking really good. I love getting these basic monsters done.
Yeah.
Right? Because then if I ever need to, I can just be like, I need a purple worm. Boom, we got it.
All right, we got one.
Yep. I need a band of orcs. Boom, we've got them. I need some hobgoblins. Don't have those yet.
Well,
hint.
And we've always said this, where we want to go through the list of creatures and just be like, let's just print off like everything in the monster manual.
Yeah, a good dozen of each. Or,
Yeah, and get them all done so that
a dozen beholders. You never know when you need 12 beholders for a combat.
Exactly. Actually, I want to do a bunch of beholders, but I want to do them all super weird, like crazy long tentacles, like thin spaghetti-looking things.
That's the thing is, like, everybody
does, like,
designs
the
beholder like the classic Monster Manual one, but they specifically describe that all beholders are different. Yeah, they're like mutated in strange ways, and they don't look like beholders typically, like except for their central eye and eye stalks, right? The rest of them is kind of weird and different, and it's one of those things where it's like, let's get some variety going on here. Let's get a Death's Kiss, and let's get let's get some good shit out there. But yeah, I don't think we need more than a couple beholders.
Yeah, I agree.
But like we really should go through and just grab just go through the monster manual and start from the A's. Aardvark. How many Aardvarks do we need?
Yeah, a dozen, like you said.
Yeah, 1 dozen Aardvarks.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that just to get that done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can move on to doing
custom
stuff and the special ones that get produced each month, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
I know that, like, we have about 4 or 5 different dwarf clans, as in like dwarves with different like looks and different like backstories and things like that from your various patrons or Patreons. They're not your patrons.
No.
I guess.
I
Well,
wish.
no, technically they are, because they are providing you like cool stuff in exchange for service, right? You're a warlock.
Yeah.
You're just a warlock who just pays them money instead. But I know that I eventually want to have all of those dwarven clans printed, and like personally like go through and make sure that they're all painted and whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Eventually, I just need an army of people to paint.
Welcome back, though, Joe. You didn't miss much. We were just talking about arcade games and some questions about Aneria.
Yeah, a bunch of spoilers.
Yep, you missed it all.
Yep. There's no way you can go back. It's not like this is a recorded video.
Yeah. So what is next? Spikes?
Yeah, so I think I have, because I did dry brushing, there's a bunch of pink on the spikes and a bunch of purple on the spikes.
Yeah.
So I need to go and paint each one of the spikes white.
Uh-huh.
Then I can do the...
Then you can do the next coat.
Actually, I don't have to. I can just do skeleton bone color right away. Or Drake Tooth. How about that?
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
Drake Tooth. I don't have purple worm tooth. Actually, I want to get the mouth done, because spikes are details.
So what is one monster in the monster manual that we haven't printed yet that you want to print?
Gurlians.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Grillians.
Gray Render.
Gray Render. Oh, yeah, with the no mouth. Yeah,
Yep.
That's really good, too.
Yeah.
Gelatinous Cube.
Yeah.
Neither of the ones that you said were actually in the monster manual, but
I guess that's
they're they are.
I consider them into the monster manual.
Yeah.
Close enough.
But yeah, I want to see a couple gelatinous cubes because we've never done that. You have to be there's a specific level that you have to be at for a lot of monsters, like classic monsters in D&D.
Let's see. Pink, red.
For
Pink for the mouth.
Pink.
Okay.
Yeah, pink for sure. That looks. Unless somebody else has other opinions, but.
Nah.
Nope.
Pink.
I'm gonna. I'll just.
Pull rank.
Pull rank. Yep. My rank is no better than anybody else's. I'd like to get some bugbears and some hobgoblins, just because we actually, we need to print more goblins off too because we don't have enough.
More goblinoids in general.
Yeah. Some extra ogres because we have in the way of ogres is we have that one plastic mini from back in the day when I was buying minis.
Yeah.
And then Hug.
That's true.
Well, I guess we actually have another one that's just not painted yet, but we have like one other ogre beyond that.
Yeah.
So that'd be nice. Some lizard folk. We have a very basic like lizard folk, but we have a lot more lizard folk now. Like,
oh yeah.
Like we just recently got a whole set of like Aztec lizard folk, like almost like Warhammer Fantasy lizard folk, right, with dinosaurs and everything like that. Dinosaurs. I want to print off a Triceratops.
Okay.
We've never done a Triceratops before, and it's
we've got an
very
Allosaurus and a T-Rex, and that's just because Preston's Bard had shape change.
Yeah. There was one that we have, I think it's either Artisan Guild or Titan Forge. And it is like a Aztec priestess on the back of a Triceratops.
Yes.
Yeah, and it looks really cool, and I think I might have to add it to the list. In fact, it might already be on the list, if I'm not mistaken.
I just realized there's a bunch of... They look like teeth inside the mouth.
Oh, yeah?
Which means, I'm going to have to paint...
You're going to have to paint some teeth in there?
Yeah.
Unless you just want to make him super gummy.
Yeah, maybe he'll just gum you to death. Mainly because, again, I don't like this print because there's a lot of things that I would have done better, and the teeth inside the mouth could be printed a lot cooler now.
Yeah. I know there's another print similar to this one that you are also disappointed in and want to redo.
Is it starts with a T?
Yes. And
yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why we're not saying it on stream here is because it may be a thing later.
Yeah. Spoils.
Yep.
Spoils.
I actually have been having a lot of fun coming up with unique dragon ideas. Because I want this season to include a lot more dragons than it did last time. But I don't want it to just be, and here's a different color dragon for you to fight. It's got to be something unique and interesting. And I think I've got some doozies prepared.
I mean, dragons are pretty freaking cool, though.
Yes.
Like, just in general.
And they are one of the things, unlike beholders, dragons are one of the things that people like morph and transform to make them as unique as possible.
Which,
so
again,
there's so many out there.
It's
right?
funny.
Yeah.
Like every one of the artists, they do like one or two beholders, and they're almost always similar. You know. Yeah, they do. But every artist does hundreds of dragons. It seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a rite of passage.
It's a matter of popularity too. Like,
it's a rite of passage for mini makers to do. an elf set, an orc set, a goblin set, and a dwarf set. Just like that. Like that's why we have so many dwarf clans, is because everybody like is like, oh yeah, well we need to do our dwarves, you know, just in case somebody is watching, and they always get voted for too. Like whenever they do like a poll, it's always like, yes, give us more dwarves, give us more orcs.
It drives me crazy because
I don't mind it.
As a person that has many dwarves already, I don't need more. I don't need more elves. Yet they always win in all the polls, and I have a feeling it's because there's a bunch of new people that have joined,
and they're like, I didn't get the last elf
set, or they only have, they only join one Patreon a month or something like that. Yeah. So they always vote for what they think is cool. And someone like me that is kind of obsessive about that stuff, and I have dozens of different types, I'm always voting for the cool, like, oh, here's we want to do a race of, like, badger people. And I'm like, yes, do it.
Yeah.
Nothing. They never win.
There was I think Titanforge, one of the ones I bought was like a Beastman.
Yeah, there's his gaping maw.
Nice. Show it to the camera. Not just to me. That's awesome. You got to make the back wet, at least. Like,
I'll make the whole interior wet, and I might even go. I can do saliva,
some resin saliva.
Yeah, that'd be really saliva cool. Streams around, and it just opened up, and it's got them all.
It looks like a graboid.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, the mouth is definitely graboid-esque. Where's Kevin Bacon when you need him? Off in some other town trying to get people to dance, I suppose.
Yeah. Weirdo. It's something that.
That was all the questions that we had, by the way. So.
Ask more, everyone.
Yeah, if you have any questions.
Put them in the comments below.
That's one of the things that I really like, is I really like just like hearing people's questions about my realm. And wanting to know more about my lore, because like I always feel like
about your lore in Savory. Do you have a moment to talk about your lore in Savory?
Oh my gosh! Okay. Good night, everybody. That's all for tonight.
I try to get him one daily at least.
Are you kidding? You interrupt me with like 5 every time we play our game. I said the word quarry last night, and I couldn't continue. Anytime I said the word quarry, I couldn't continue without you making a joke about it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you at all.
Yeah, but I just really like people like really asking about the lore and everything, or about general details in an area. Not only does it help me like develop the world a little bit more if I haven't thought about it, but I feel like when it comes to giving a homebrew world to your brand new party that's all trying to think up their own character backstory, throwing the world's backstory at them always is met with a little bit of like, oh, that's cool, Cory, and then they just kind of like ignore you a little bit, which is fine. Yeah, it's a brother's job. It is absolutely a brother's job to completely piss me off. Every brother has to piss me off. It's a
all brothers everywhere, all over the world. Get so mad at him.
All right, so now you're doing just the detail work on the.
Well, I was until my paint decided to act like a piece of crap.
Oh,
it's all super watery, and I don't remember thinning it down inside the bottle. I probably haven't used it a long time, so we'll give it a good minute shake.
Yeah. Like how you got your purple worm, your big pile of crates and barrels, and then 3 beekeepers, 3 aim agents right there up at the top.
Yeah. Those are the 3 genders: purple worms, crates,
crate/barrels,
crate/barrels, and aim minions.
My pronouns are crate and barrel.
That's just the store.
Yeah. Yep. Crate would like everybody to call barrel by barrel's proper pronouns.
Okay, let's see if it's any better.
That makes it sound like I'm making fun of the whole gender pronoun things. Call yourself what you want. I don't care. I just like poking fun at everything.
Yeah.
Is that working any better, or is it still pretty runny?
No, it's better.
Okay.
It's not amazing, but it's
It just
better.
hasn't been shaken up in a while.
Yeah, I've been neglecting my regular paints because contrast paints are so fast,
Yeah.
and I can get them done to the point where it's like, okay, that's good, you know. So that's what I've been using.
It is looking really good though. I'm just loving it. I wasn't too sure about giving it the full purple look. Like I was like maybe we could do another color and
No,
just
I mean it's a purple worm.
yeah, but I mean it doesn't have to be a purple worm. It can just be a worm, right?
Yeah, I did a lot of research. You know, I just did some reference before we started.
Yeah.
And found I was like, oh yeah, purple, sweet.
Yeah, and they pretty much look like that. Like it's yeah with the underbelly and everything like that.
Yeah, well, and they even have the big old spikes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of. I'm so excited to get to some of these minis that we're going to see in the campaign. I realized today that I'm like that's a big part of running the game is showing off all of the cool miniatures for me, right? Because there's all these cool ideas that come from these, and I'm like, I want everybody to see how cool these are.
It's the argument I always have with some people about theater of the mind versus miniatures, and part of it is like I want to show off the miniatures that I found and that I've printed, and I think that's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
And I also go, I don't. There are a lot of people that don't have imaginations.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. Some people just cannot visualize stuff in their head, and it's the same kind of people that don't like to do a lot of reading. Probably is because they have a hard time, you know. And I'm generalizing here. But,
Yeah.
You know, I love to be able to show them a miniature and have them go, okay, now I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. You know, even if the miniature's not painted, at least they go, yeah, okay, I know what's going on. You know, and. It's the same with having a map. We've had a couple friends where they go, I need a map. Can you get me? Can you draw something up for me or get a grid out?
Yep. I've tried to do Theater of the Mind for like a dungeon crawl, and it immediately is like, I need a visual representation at least. Can we get a quick sketch or something like that? Joe said it looks like the Yorkmunder burst up through the market. We need a tipped over cart of cabbages, and the guy mourning said cabbages.
Not cabbages. It'll be this. It'll be
Undar.
Yep. My cabbages.
My cabbages. I was gonna make slaw. Because that's cabbage, right?
Yep.
It's shredded cabbage.
Yep. Coleslaw.
Yep.
And among other things, but yes.
Yeah. I heard that the voice actor who plays the cabbage guy, is going to be in the Avatar: The Last Airbender live action Netflix series as the cabbage guy. Which
Good for
is
him.
Yeah, which is great. Like that's fantastic.
He's been memed so much and loved so much because you can be a meme and people can still like it, you know.
Yeah. You can be a meme and people can still like it.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. That sentence is done.
Sorry, my brain.
No, you're fine. You're painting like
Yeah.
two things at once.
Anyway, you know, usually people see memes and they go, "Oh, that's a negative thing," you know. Not necessarily.
Yeah, or they just kind of
Sometimes
go,
you're just
I
well-loved.
don't get this, so I'm just going to move on, or
Yeah, if you're
whatever,
well loved
but-
and you got
yeah.
a meme about you,
Mhm.
I think that's a good thing.
Speaking of Netflix shows, The Odd Ones Out, you know, the YouTuber, he just did the trailer reveal for his Netflix show called Oddballs that basically is based on like his character. So it's the full like white body Odd Ones Out, and James does the voice work for it. But
Very cool.
It seems pretty funny.
That's awesome. Like being able to become that successful, to
Mhm.
have Netflix be able to do
Or Amazon Prime.
yeah.
Or, sorry, rather, millions of fans donating money, and then Amazon Prime going, well, you've already got the money. I guess we'll just cash in on this.
Mm-hmm. Looking at you, Critical Role.
I wouldn't care if that
I'd
were
sell
us.
out.
Like, oh, in a heartbeat. I
People
would
are
be
always
like,
like, "Oh, I'd never sell." Bull crap.
yeah.
If someone slapped you in the face with the right amount of money, you would drop it in a heartbeat.
If
You would-
if Coca-Cola came to us and they said, hey, we want to be your official sponsor in the campaign, every healing potion would be Coca-Cola brand.
yeah.
No, I mean, like,
you can sponsor us. just reach out.
Yep.
Our email is in the info box in YouTube.
Yeah. Right now it's all Pepsi.
Yep.
They're winning. Their
They're
healing
winning.
potions are all Pepsi. And everybody has to go, is Pepsi okay when they're talking about healing potions? Nobody likes it.
I'll even drink Coke live on stream. It may be just the bottle, but I'll do it.
Yeah, then the movie, exactly. I would, like, if somebody did, like, if an executive came up to me and said, hey, we want to option Tales of Aneria as a series, I'd be like, yes, absolutely. And they'd be like, do you want to do, like, the voice work for it? And I'd be like, I think I would say get other voice actors for it, because we're not voice actors, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to be the ones. We don't want to. Well, I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the group, obviously.
I would be cool with having a voice
But
actor
I'd be.
play Bolt.
Yeah.
Because there's some pretty like Fred Tassacor. I think he would make a good Bolt voice. Yeah.
Do you think that we're going to see a surge of YouTube D&D shows get picked up as
Drink Surge?
No.
Yeah, probably. I have a feeling that Netflix is kind of on its, like, I don't want to say, like, deathbed, but it's in its, like, death throes, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's slowly dying and it's been losing customers because all the other streaming services have been taking their stuff off. And I look at Netflix now as, like, this was a jumping off platform for all the other streaming services. And they're like, we'll let Netflix do this, and then
we'll do it better.
Popular.
Yep.
Cool, we're going to go do it. We'll do it better. We'll do it differently. You know?
And Netflix isn't adapting fast enough either, right? That's the whole problem.
Well, and they're actively driving away a lot of their customers.
Yeah.
Because the whole, like, crackdown on password sharing and, you know, things like that. That it's like, dude, stop that. You're just making it worse.
Yep. I feel like while it might be selling out, how amazing would an animated ToA be? I have dreamed about it. I have thought of how to adjust the story in order to make it animated friendly. It definitely wouldn't be the party meeting up at a festival and then going to Hollowbend Sanctum. They would be like rescuing Ainur from the clutches of the Infinite Sight to begin with, or something like that, you know, and then escorting her back and then having to fight the Infinite. Like, it would be, the Infinite Sight would be the definite first arc with, like, hints of everything else, but it wouldn't be, like, mixing and matching the different storylines in there. Like, we wouldn't, like, jump to Aventhi or anything like that. And Aventhi would have a much bigger role once he was revealed as a big bad. So it'd be like, season 1 would be the Infinite Sight and the whole Ezra shift.
It took Critical Role 3 campaigns to get theirs, so we need at least 3 campaigns under our belt before we get.
Do you consider the Shattered Realms a second campaign, or is that still number 1?
I feel like it's still the same one because it's still roughly the same characters.
Same.
So.
I honestly I made the commitment that I was going to take this campaign to level 20, right? And I had a lot of stuff prepared for it. To take it to level 20.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one of those things where I don't think we'll ever do that again.
You don't think we'll go to 20 again?
I think we will have an overarching story for a campaign, and however many levels that goes to, it goes to, right? Instead of being like, every campaign is going to be to level 20.
Yeah. Well, and I think you wanted to do that first just because, man, I'm getting all shaky. Missing a bunch of spots. Because no one else had done it.
Exactly.
No one else had done a level 20 campaign. And so you were like,
Did Critical Role go to level 20? Their first campaign?
I think they went to like 17 or 18.
Yeah.
It might be like 20 now, like as far as the lore goes.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong too. I'm sure someone will correct me. Just because I'm not up to date on Crit Roll's lore and what they've all done.
Yeah. I'm already ready for Campaign 3. Me too. Like, as much as I love Campaign 2, I've got some fun ideas for, like, continuing the story. And I think it'd be, like, an area... Oh, yeah, I guess it is only Campaign 1. Yep, I'm already ready for Campaign 3.
We're just going to skip 2 and go right to 3.
Yeah, that's how we get the Netflix deal faster, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
We say we have 3 campaigns under our belts. Yeah, it's really, like, because we renamed this new season, the second half of the campaign, the Shattered Realms, and we did that basically out of a need to like separate it from the other campaign because we had
of the break.
Because we had the break, we had the players switching characters, the players leaving, that sort of thing. We had to create it. It does make it feel like it's campaign 2, but it really is like 1.5. You know, and we'll eventually have 2 and then 2.5 and then 3 and then we'll skip 3.5. We'll just do Pathfinder instead.
Fourth edition.
We'll go campaign 4 will be 4th edition. And everybody will stop watching us at that point. Yes.
They will all wonder what the hell we are doing.
No, it's going to be interesting to see like who makes the shift when 1 D&D comes out.
I know Critical Role absolutely will.
Yeah, they'll wrap up their campaign and then the next campaign.
Without saying it, they will. They won't come out right away and be like, "This is what we're doing," but you'll see it in like some of the gameplay. Things will start to be like, "Oh, that's a 1 D&D feature that they just added."
Yeah.
But then again, like they already do homebrew stuff, like on Resurrection rules. Matt has his whole separate Resurrection rules. He doesn't use rules as written.
Thought Vox Machina was level 20 when they ended, but I'm only about 97 episodes in. It feels like it's more of a grind than the Mighty Nine. Absolutely it is. I think that Matt, for how great of a DM he is, he wasn't prepared for it being a huge YouTube success, right?
Yeah.
Or not YouTube, but, Twitch, streaming success. So he didn't have like, I bet he has like a couple other like writing consultants at least.
Especially now.
Yeah, now. And that's why the Mighty Nine feels a little bit more concise and put together, is because this one was kind of like, I've got a big party that I'm just trying to get storylines in and everything. So we everybody else benefits from his fumbling. So we always thank him for that, right?
Yeah, and by fumblings, he still handles it all.
Oh yeah, he did
with
amazing.
Absolute grace as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason why Vox Machina was so popular, is because it was amazing. Like it was, despite any sort of issues with slogginess that it might have had.
It's just so hard. We're what?
14?
20 episodes almost behind on season 3, campaign 3, and it's so hard to find time to do 4 hours. And every one of you guys that watches our show, like,
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Because we know how tough it is to a lot of times you have to pick and choose,
Yeah.
And
we know you have a choice when it comes to D&D campaigns. We thank you for choosing Tales of Aneria Airlines.
I know a lot of it is, if you listen to it on podcast form, it's easier, because then you can do it while you're mowing the lawn and while you're driving
in the car. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's why you and I haven't really caught up, because we like to watch together.
I always feel bad about our podcast version, because we do not have any sort of editing that we do specifically for the podcast. We just literally just export the audio.
Yep.
Right. And so there's all these pieces where, like our intro is just noise for like 20 seconds for them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay.
Well, they should know that's the starting thing,
Yeah. But it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I feel a little bad, because there are things that happen that I'm like, oh, that's not going to translate well. But again, the answer that I always come up with in my head is they can just go and watch the video. If they're like, oh, I got to this part and I wasn't sure what this looked like, I can go check it out. Yep. Or wasn't sure what physical action was done here. Yeah.
And our brother-in-law has done that, where he's listened to the audio, and he's like, there's been 1 or 2 times where I've really wanted to see the monster, just because I couldn't get the description into my head.
Yeah.
And then we had a rotation, and he went and watched it. And was like, okay.
We need to find a place to put like all the rotations.
Discord, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe Discord, for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot of extra work.
Yep, it is.
Gotta keep finding time to do that stuff. Not enough time in the day, not enough money in the bank account.
Yep.
I would absolutely love to make painting and prepping the game my full-time job. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, if it was our full-time jobs, I definitely would edit the audio to add, like, thank you for choosing Tales of Aneria, like tonight's episode, episode session 1 or whatever, kind of stuff on the on the podcast version of it. Like, I would do some editing there. You're not going to get this guy done in time.
Oh, no.
But that's okay.
That's okay. I'll finish him up off screen.
Yep. Got to finish up the base and the spikes. Yeah.
Yeah, the base will be pretty easy.
Yeah, I was surprised that you decided to go just with contrast paints on this rather than...
Yeah.
And with a small brush, no less. Like,
Well,
you did that with a smaller brush. Oh, yeah, sorry. You changed brushes.
I did change. I'm only doing these ones with a small brush because I need to.
Joe says, I really don't like the crit success rule on one D&D playtest, and I do like mass resurrection mechanic. It makes a PC death with the possibility of resurrection less easy / video game like. Yeah. It is all about the base as well, he says. The crit rule is... What is the crit rule? It is for skill checks, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
Well, there's that technically DMs can't crit as far as it's written.
Yeah, technically DMs can't crit. Oh, it's the no spell crits. Yeah, that... It does feel a little bit like they are specifically like nerfing certain things just to kind of balance the game out, but they're not doing it in the proper way, right? They're not being like, hey, in order to make martial characters seem cooler, we're gonna give them extra abilities and whatnot. They just go, in order for martial characters to seem cooler or
They're
more
the ones that
viable.
can crit.
Yeah, they're now the only ones that can crit, and we're taking that away from spellcasters. But I mean, it's one of those things where, with the rules as they are written for 5th edition, you end up with people who want to do crazy 4-class multi-class builds because it gets them the best crits and whatnot, you know? Like, that's what Colby's channel is all about, right? Is exploiting the mechanics in that specific way. So I'm very curious to see if they keep it. I think we need to see a little bit more of the playtest.
Yeah, this is like the barest bones that they gave us, and
it's not even like a full thing. It's just kind of like, here's some.
We need to see more. We need to see more like fleshed out parts of the rules, right?
Because who knows? Like, they said that with the way that they did it, it was that smites couldn't crit, right? You couldn't get extra crit damage on smites, but it could be that the paladin class is like, when you smite, and score a critical hit, you double the dice.
Yeah, smite might
deal...
not even be a dice thing anymore. It just means you add this much to it, type of a deal, and it might be like technically max damage or whatever.
Do you think that having base damage for all weapons instead of a roll would be better, or do you like the rolling mechanic? Like, obviously D&D is all about rolling. Right?
I like having every weapon has a base damage, right? But you have your strength, your dexterity, your class features. That all adds to that. Those are where your dice come from.
Yeah.
So rogues are D6s, and fighters are D10s, and barbarians are D12s.
Yeah.
And then you can use whatever kind of weapon you want.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but like a rogue's damage is always D6s, right?
Yeah.
No matter what type of weapon that they use. Yeah.
Yeah.
More the skill success than anything. A crit success to jump the Grand Canyon shouldn't get you across. No, and that is one thing that they do address in there, is they say that if the DC on a skill check would be higher than 30, do not have your players roll and let them know that it is impossible, right?
Well, and that's also a DM thing. If you as a DM are allowing those kind of rolls, for me it's like, okay, you want to try to jump the Grand Canyon? Absolutely. Okay, roll it. They roll, and it's
critical success.
All right, critical success. Cool. Rather than falling to your death, you're able to grab onto a outcropping tree, a tree that's grown out of it or something.
Yeah, on your side. Because you can't jump that far.
Yeah, it's the most success capable or possible for that particular thing,
Yeah. One thing that they also... So this has been a big controversy in the memeing community right now, is technically the rules say that, like, if the DC is below a 5, it's so easy that you shouldn't have them roll, and it should just be an automatic success.
Yeah.
But there's some people who are trying to interpret that rule as anything with an armor class below 5 can't be hit. because you can't roll for it. And it's one of those things where it's like, no, you just automatically get hit if you decide to have an AC that low. Like, yeah. I like rolling in the crits on smites are a reward for good resource management. I kind of feel the opposite in that regard. I feel like saving a smite for a crit means that you're saving your spell slots for that one opportunity, and it's good resource management, sure, but it's not as fun as, say, casting another spell. You know, like it's great to have the smite be available.
There's an upside and a downside, right? You save your spell slot to do the smite, and the upside is you have the spell slot available for the smite. But the downside is, what if there was another spell you could have done that would have helped your party even better than that smite? You know,
an aid or blast or something like that. Like it's
well, like in this last episode, Colby used aid, and we'd never used it before really in any of our fights or combats, and it was like, this is actually really
last session that we recorded, not last session that
this is a really helpful
thing. Teach their own. Like I personally don't like saving my spell slots for smites, but I like doing weird things with my spell slots. But what about
it's the same as the argument of like, what's the better way to play, optimizing for damage or role play? Well, it doesn't matter. It matters whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
If that's what's fun, is if you want to save all those spell slots so that you can do massive smites every time that you crit or something. Awesome, do it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's the way you want to play it. That's great. I'm
great.
not saying that that's incorrect or anything like that.
Yeah, that's just,
I'm just saying that, like, I personally think that it's more fun to have your spells used for other more utility uses than just on smite. But that's just me. Again, what do you think about the idea of tying smites to the lay on hands pool? Like every 5 points that you use a lay on hands is a first level or a level of the smite, right?
Secondary resource outside of spell slots.
Yep, exactly. Then your spell slots can be used. You can have the smaller spell slots and use them for, except all your other utility spells and summoning mounts and whatnot.
Well, that would be like your performance points that you gave Preston.
Yeah,
like and then it's another resource that they can use. Outside of like the basic mechanics.
then it becomes a really fun game of managing the resources between healing and damage, but not so much that it ties up like a good chunk of your class, right?
Yeah. Well, and I have issues with spell slots in general.
Bosco just checked in.
Hey, welcome.
He thinks that smite shouldn't use spell slots, but use smite slots. And
smite slots.
So there we go.
That might be a good compromise, honestly. I don't like spell slots in general, and I kind of never have. I don't know how much of that is just biased about 4th edition. I like the way they did their. You had your at will spells, you had your daily spells, you had your weekly spells, and
not weekly encounter.
Sorry.
Can you imagine? You can use this spell once a week.
Yeah. And I really liked that. I really liked the ability to have spells that reset every encounter, that I didn't have to worry about tracking spell slots for.
Yeah. Spell points is a good one to use.
I don't want them to go to like a mana pool, because I really don't want to do the math for it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be hard, but it would just be annoying. It'd just be like spell slots in general.
Yeah. I think having a mana pool would be great if it regenerated over like short rests, not just long rests.
Well, at that point, you're just using Warlock spell recovery or whatever it's called.
Like Psionic power points in 3.5. Yeah, Psionics in 4th edition used the same thing, actually. They used power points to like enhance their spells and everything, and that was a really cool. Well,
and sorcerers have sorcerer points already,
Why not just give paladin points?
Paladin points.
God points.
Paladin points, yes, God points.
God bucks.
You can
spend 5 God bucks and you get a smite.
Yep, you can redeem them. They're God tickets. You can redeem them for godly powers.
Yep. I got a godly ticket. I've got a godly ticket. It is 9. We are gonna. Yep. It is time for us to go, my friends. Thank you, Bosco, for joining us right at the end here.
Sorry you couldn't make it, but it'll be up pretty shortly after this, so you can go ahead and
you can just go back and
rewatch it
and take a look. But thanks everybody for joining us tonight. It's been super fun. We got most of the worm done. We got a little bit left to go. But once again, this is the worm that the party faced in Session 1 of the Shattered Realms. So if you want to go check out that fight, it was really fun. Yeah, he's very spiky. Yeah, but have a wonderful night. We will see you next week with either another paint stream or an art stream, depending on who is available.
Yep.
So,
okay.
see ya.
Bye.
There's